What is up, my tricksters? It's your friendly neighborhood Yu-Gi-Oh! Superhero back again. I want to remind you guys, if you want to support this channel, the best ways you can do that are to check out my merch store. You can get stuff with Frank's face on it, along with many of the artwork that I have created, or you can do your playmat link in the description below. They'll give you 10% off, and you can put anything that you want on the sleeve or on the mat, whatever you choose to buy. You should also check out my Instagram. You know, I do occasionally make Yu-Gi-Oh! Art for funsies over there, and if you see anything you like and you want to throw it on a sleeve, on a Your Playmat sleeve, I will personally not be offended. I will appreciate that. Anyway, guys, I know that I have been gone a minute because, well, I live in America, and it's not a good time to be an American right now. Yeah, home of the free my ass. Anyway. We're going to watch some replay footage because that's how we do it here on the Ben 10,000 yugioh channel. And after the replay footage, I will showcase you guys the deck profile. I will go over the deck, talk about some basic combos, and I'll talk about my card choices. And yeah, when we get into that, I'll see you on the other side. All right, there you have it, guys. That was the replay footage. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I may have done some personal edits for my own amusement there. Uh, you can tell me how much I'm crazy or how much you enjoyed them in the comments below. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and start here. We're going to obviously start with the Shaddolls. The most important thing in here is we got Double Beast because we like to draw cards. And this is basically Pot of Greed for our deck, funny enough. Well, especially if you use it right. Most of the time it's more of an upstart, but you guys get the point. We got our Dragon, it lets us pop. We got our Squamata. This is the deck then. Basically, we use Squamata to also like get to the other cards that we couldn't normally get to, which I really like that because it means, you know, it's deck thinning, and we want spellcasters in the graveyard as much as possible for a certain other tech, which we will get to in a minute. Then we got our Aerial. This lets us banish stuff from our opponent's graveyard, potentially bring stuff back from our banish pile if the flip effect goes off. Then we got Shaddoll. She just special summons a doll from the deck. That's really all there is to do with her. Yeah, both her effects are basically the same thing. And this is a key card in this deck. And then we got our Hedgehog. It's Rhoda, basically. This literally is Rhoda. For either a spell or trap or for a monster. It's just kind of whatever the situation is. This card, Kios, is only in here because we're playing the branded stuff and it's a light monster and it's a doll. Because it's a light, it's a dark, it's a light and a Shaddoll monster. That's the only reason why it's in here. The boosting effect does sometimes come up if I'm in a position to OTK, but most of the time it's just in here for that. Then we got our one of our most powerhouse cards in this deck, Fairy Tale Snow. I'm so happy this card is back. It actually gives this deck a little bit more defense, which is something we desperately need, and makes those spells and trap cards that we've used up more useful than they would be otherwise. So we get to basically use our entire deck as a resource, which I really like. And then we got Albaz, because we're playing a little bit of the branded stuff in here. We're just playing Branded Fusion and Albaz. Albaz is really cool also because like it hardly ever feels like it's a dead draw. Like it just is like it's our fourth and fifth normal summon basically. That all of the dolls are basically just stuff we're trying to get in the grave, but this guy isn't too bad because if we have to, we can use him like a super poly, and that's really cool. He also doesn't target, which believe it or not, that does come up. Just to remember, his fusion ability doesn't target, so if your initial target gets taken away, you can just use another available target. Mathematician. This card is the bread and butter of the monsters in this deck. This card is magnifique. So we play this guy at 3. Fun fact, did you guys know this card used to be on the ban list? There was a point in time where this guy used to be at 1. Ain't that funny thought? Anyway. So this card basically is whatever we need it to be. It's a draw. It's a special summon. It's a search. It's a double deck thin. Believe it or not, that does come up. You send Squamata. Squamata sends something else. Double deck thin. And of course, if this guy dies in battle, guess what happens? You get to draw another card. So it's just like, oh, more deck thinning. Literally, you can deck thin off of this card potentially for 3 cards altogether. You send Squamata. Squamata sends another doll. And if it's like a Winda after that, you get to summon the beast, and then like it's even more than that. But if and then of course if he dies, you know, it's really, we can go through the deck very quickly, and I like that. This really lets us get to the stuff we need ASAP. Then we have our effect veilers. We have our hand trap, also light targets for our constructs and for our Albaz dragons. And, you know, the truth is, like, that's the reason. And actually, Effect Veiler is actually a little more useful than I think Imperm would be for this particular build. Because the reality of it is it is a spellcaster, so it adds to other things as fusion material, as well as being a hand trap. And, you know, we kind of need, you know, it's also a light monster, which all of these factors come up. Magicalized Fusion is to help us get to our most, like, beefiest monster in the extra deck. But it is also in here to let us have another route to Apkalone and Winda. That does come up. I really enjoy that. It's like, you know, a lot of one of the worries I had initially when I was building this build was that this card was only going to be in here to get to the Quintet Magician, but then I realized, oh wait, Apkalone and Winda are also spellcasters. So this card isn't a dead draw, like, at all, ever. It's just a faster the Shaddoll trap that lets us fusion summon wreck or whatever. Branded fusion, Shaddoll fusion. These cards are basically the same damn card, especially for this deck. Shaddoll fusion does have that pesky stipulation that says your opponent has to control an extra deck monster, but it rarely comes up. The coolest thing about this deck is we're trying to fuse out of our hand. Dark Hole is in here because this card is also like if we have to set Shaddolls, we can blow up the field while also getting something off of the doll effects. So, you set your Windy or your Squamata, you would blow up the field, and then now you get to Squamata, go into Beast, or go into Windy. It's like you didn't lose anything. It's also, just that's kind of the bonus of it is, but also normally you're just going to play this to blow up the monsters. That's it. That's all there is to it. Card destruction, it triggers every single doll in your hand. I cannot tell you how many times I have dropped a card destruction with the Shaddoll deck. And it's just like, oh yay! Do you guys like Pot of Greed? This card's Pot of Greed in Shaddoll, especially if you draw like a Beast and a Windy in the same hand. It's like free stuff. Why? Thank you. I love free stuff. Anyway, then we got our Foolish Burial, the spell equivalent to our Mathematician. This is also, by the way, Mathematician also and this can also send Fairy Tale Snow if you just want to hard send them. That's really up there. So I found another video on YouTube when I was researching the idea of a branded Shaddoll deck, and somebody mentioned, I can't remember who said it, but somebody mentioned about El Shaddoll Fusion, and this card I was really only playing at 1, but I realized now that was a mistake. This card should be played at 3, and the reason why for this particular build is it actually combos with the Mathematician with Shikinaga. So basically what a lot of players are going to do is they're going to try to stop your Mathematician. They're going to go Ash Blossom, they're going to go Imperm, they're going to go Veiler, and the fun part about those cards, well, it won't stop with Ash Blossom, but it will stop with Effect Veiler or Imperm. Is what we can do is we can chain El Shaddoll Fusion and make Shikinaga, which guarantees that our mill goes through and possibly causes us to get something else with depending on what the Shaddoll we sent. So basically, it can be like, oh, cool, I got a Beast in my hand. This gets the Beast out of my hand. I draw a card. My mill goes through. I get another mill. And then, of course, if they want to stop something else, they're going to have to use something like an Ash Blossom, which means they're not using that Ash Blossom on your branded fusion. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. Basically, is we're forcing the opponent to drop that Ash before we even drop the branded fusion. Called by because Ash Blossom's an evil pain in the ass. And I still am looking at you, Konami. Ban Ash Blossom. I hate that card with a burning passion. Pun intended. Super Poly! This card is amazing. I'm glad this card is existing in the game. A little frustrated when I am up against branded Despia because it's just a battle of the Super Polys. But it is really fun. I really enjoy it. The Super Poly card is just awesome. Also, it's another way to get things in the graveyard that are important, like our Shaddoll Incarnation or our Fairy Tale Snow. These are cards that we want in the graveyard that we don't really care how they got there. So it's just another card to kind of add to that. Also, you can always get rid of dead cards in your hand that you're not using, like your extra Mathematicians, Shaddoll Beast if you happen to draw it. Believe it or not, though, the Shaddoll Beast actually being at 2 in here is also played for another reason, which I'll go back to in just a minute. The last card in the main deck is Shaddoll Wreck, or Shaddoll excuse me. I always forget that there's an English change because they never update this stuff on Idle Pro. Anyway. Basically, Magicalized Fusion and this card are basically the same thing. The only bonus of using the trap is that you're going to be getting rid of a attribute monster that's the same as the Shaddoll you summon from your opponent, which in our case is Earth, Light, and Dark. Which is fine because most monsters in the game are in those 3 categories. So more than likely, Schism's going to get rid of a monster. It doesn't target. That's really cool. I like that. I did find out recently because I recently got a Schism like this year. I forgot that monster can't attack directly. So I wish I had known that earlier. There was a few times I panicked in Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the day where I didn't need to if I had known that. Anyway, the thing that I was going to talk about is with the Shaddoll Beast, there's another reason why we're also playing too. Something that the hero players are doing lately. They're playing that level 1 something angel that's in their deck. Basically what that does is that card specifically says that anytime a spell is activated, just negate it because they're assholes, and I don't know why Konami thought that was an okay thing to create. But unfortunately, this deck could be hurt by that. So, but playing double beast though, it actually has come up. I could just tribute over it, set the beast, and then okay, cool. Now we just keep playing Yu-Gi-Oh, which I like that idea. Yeah, so okay, now we're gonna go over the extra deck. So we got Gravity Controller. This card's rarely ever come up for me, honestly. There's just hasn't been very many situations where I wanted this card, but it does come up. It's gonna come up a few times because basically you're gonna be you're using it to get rid of an app clone so you can get to your certain cards faster, and etc. Like your Schism here. Then we got the Mud Dragon. This is a super poly target, double Winda. We're floodgating out the opponent. App clone is one of our negates. Because this deck doesn't have too many negates. We do have disruptions, but we don't have too many negates specifically. So App Cologne is actually one of the cards we can actually kind of use as a disruption and a negate. Also, the monster can't be destroyed by battle, which does come up because a lot of players forget that that is a thing that it can do. And then, of course, they have to waste their cards like their destruction effects or stuff. They got to go around that, and that does come up. And then we go, okay, so we're only playing one Albion. I used to play 2 and 2 with Lubellion, but honestly, with this build, we're not really relying as much on the branded stuff as in older builds when I was trying this. Lubellion is the superior dragon in this deck. We have Albion just because it is less costly in here, and it is a way to get Fairy Tale Snow in the graveyard, which is the only reason why we're playing it at all. And then we have Lubellion, which basically just send a Shaddoll to the grave. I think yes. And then, of course, if we don't want to use it, we don't have to. It could just be another way to put a doll in the graveyard if necessary. It has 3,000 defense points, which also is something that does come up occasionally. So sometimes that 3,000 ass is just too big to get over. And then, you just spin this guy back and spin back your Albaz, and voila, now you have this big asshole. Anyway, then we got Bird Planet Dragostapelia. This card is a super poly target as well as a target for Lubellion and Albion. This card's one of our negates. It's kind of cool. It's being that it's a super poly target too. So it's just kind of a dual purpose that way. And then we got our constructs, sending, destroying. It's all good. Getting our stuff back. I love all the floating. And then we got our Mirror Jade, the Ice Blade Dragon. This probably is the big boss monster of this deck, honestly, next to Winda. Being able to non-target destroy, or no, excuse me, not destroy, non-target remove a monster is really good. And if our opponent does get rid of it, then at the end of their turn, it's probably going to go pfft, which is really handy for us because please leave your field open. I love that. Shikinaga is honestly only in here to help with Mathematician. It's only in here as a way to combo with El Shaddoll Fusion. And that's really the only purpose this plays. I mean, the negating a monster effect actually it can come up, but it doesn't come up often. It's honestly just a 3,000 monster most of the time, 3,000 ass monster, and that's all we're using it for, so we guarantee our mills go through. And then last monster I want to talk about is the Quintet Magician. This is the card I have been dying to get my hands on to play this deck. I know it sounds crazy, but I've always thought this guy looks like a bigger Dark Magician, like a stat-wise, and I just kind of like, oh, cool. That's like having a Dark Magician in the deck, kind of Yugi vibe, without actually playing the Dark Magician. Also, his effect is actually really decent. It's a lot. It's a big cost, and it's not the end all be all, but it is in here, and we have multiple ways to get to it through Lubellion, Albion, and of course our Magicalized Fusion. This guy is just okay. So first of all, you get to use 5 spellcasters, but if you use 5 spellcasters with different names, he gets to nuke your opponent's field. He's a Judgment Dragon, which I like. I like that he's a Judgment Dragon. I know that's Judgment Dragon, Black Rose Dragon, Quintet Magician. I know that these things are all kind of outdated in this modern day of Yu-Gi-Oh, but I still enjoy cards like that because my friends know me formerly as the Light Sworn player in the area. So yeah, now I get to add it in my Magic side. This guy also is the really cool thing about this guy specifically is that he can't be tributed. So Stormforth, not going to happen. Whatever you try to do with Fluanderies, it's not going to happen. You can't tribute this guy. Nope, nope, nope. This Kaiju's not going to happen. This guy cannot be a super poly target. If you guys saw in the replay footage, there was a branded Despia player who found that out the hard way. This guy is not, can't be a super poly target. He can't be used as fusion material, and he cannot be destroyed by card effects. So if my opponent is playing something like Judgment Dragon, Black Rose Dragon, though maybe they're playing Sky Striker with the normal spell card with the fire one on it. Its name escapes me at the moment. Nope. The only thing I don't like about this guy is that he can be targeted, and I'm like, you couldn't just give me a big guy who can't, you know what I mean? Like, give him the Dragoon treatment. Come on. He takes 5 monsters to make. He's worth it. Anyway, that's rant over. The sideboard, you guys should put whatever you want in the side. I'm just putting in here what I felt I kind of needed for what I was going to be up against on Edo Pro. But you guys should just play whatever you want. I've got some back row hate. I've got some, zombie world stuff for like the Fluanderies and Lancia and stuff, and spot removal and lava golem for the decks to play lots of negates and stuff like that, just in case I felt like I needed more getting rid of the field than Dark Hole and Super Poly. But yeah, you guys don't really have to follow this lineup. You should use whatever you think is best. The only thing that I would highly recommend you have in your sideboard is the Zombie World and Banshee. The rest of it, do whatever you feel is best for you. Yeah, that's the only thing I got to say about that. I hope you guys like this, and let me know if you guys can hear me better now that I have the microphone down here instead of up here. I feel like y'all can hear me better with this here, and I really like that because that means I don't have to yell at this at the damn microphone. I hope you guys weren't wearing headphones. Anyway, guys, if you're new to the Ben 2000 YGO channel, please consider subscribing. And, guys, I will catch you in the next one. Peace. Oh, and, fuck SCOTUS.